ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, has been going full throttle ever since Donald Trump has been elected.
ICE operations we just mentioned.
For mass roundups and deportations.
ICE raids began last week.
ICE has arrested hundreds of undocumented immigrants nationwide.
You can see that there are regular updates from ICE on their page regarding how many people they have detained and how many people they have arrested. It's come to this point that mayors of certain cities have started saying that ICE is raiding the citizens of that city simply because they don't have any warrants, but they continue to interrogate people without actually having the necessary permits. They're even interrogating people in their houses without the right to do so, and that's actually a violation of the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution itself. On top of that, FBI and Homeland Security agents are even raiding the offices of well-known lawyers and attorneys. So your information, if it's kept with them, is maybe not even safe over there, even though you're supposed to have attorney-client privilege. I'm making this video to tell you guys how to deal with such a situation if ICE officers come knocking at your door or stop you in public somewhere. How do you actually respond to that? And I think this is important because you need to know. If you make mistakes, they will be used against you. So if a police officer or an ICE officer knocks on your door, the first thing you want to do is to ask for identification. And remember, you don't have to actually open up the door for that. They can actually show you the identification through the window or the peephole. Remember, you do not have to open up the door unless they have a warrant that is signed by a judge. You can even ask the officer to slip the warrant underneath the door, and you can check it before you actually allow them to come in. Make sure that the warrant is under your name and address and you are actually the person who is being targeted as a part of this investigation. Remember, you have a right to remain silent. You do not have to answer questions about where you're from, how you entered the United States, what your current visa status is. All of this information is private to you, and unless they produce a warrant, you do not need to specify that. And also, stay calm and do not resist. If they forcefully enter your home, don't push them out. Don't pick a fight with them. Let them do what they want. Just make sure that you mention it, because many times the conversation is being recorded. Just mention that I do not permit you guys to enter my house. Why are you doing so? Properly state that this is not what you consent, and also take a note of their badge number and names. In case they choose to arrest you under any circumstance, do not resist arrest. Many people get scared, they try to run away from a situation like that. That is not the right way to move forward. The situation will only escalate. These kinds of situations often lead to additional charges, and I'm sure that you would like to avoid that. Remember again, even if they arrest you, you still have the right to remain silent. You can clearly tell them, I'm exercising my right to remain silent, and you do not have to answer their questions. Of course, later on you may have to answer them, but you will be given access to a lawyer first. You also have the right to legal representation. What that means is, even if you don't have an attorney or a lawyer right now, you can request for a list of all the available organizations that may be able to support you. And finally, one very important thing is to not sign anything that you do not understand. If you are stopped in transit, by the way, I also want to take a look at that situation. Let's say you're traveling in a bus, airplane, train, anywhere, and you're stopped. Remember that you still have rights. You're not just protected inside your house, but you still have some rights outside. So you still have the right to remain silent. Do not consent to a search of your belongings if you don't want to. If an officer asks to search your bag, you can say, I do not consent to this search. However, if the officer believes that your bag, your car, anything they want to search has criminal evidence, they can override your consent against it. So in the end, they might just search it anyway, but it's important to mention that you do not consent to that search. You should always ask if you're free to leave, by the way. Unless you're being detained, you can always leave. So you have to ask, am I free to go? And if the answer is yes, you can leave. Because unless you've been detained and there's no conversation happening about you being able to leave, sometimes you might think that you're not allowed. But you make sure that you clarify that with the officer. They may ask you to show certain identification in certain cases. And if you have the identification, absolutely show it to them, produce the identification. But please know that even if you do and they have any questions after that, you still have the right to remain silent. Again, the most important thing is to stay calm, document the incident, write down their badge numbers, write down their names, get as many details as can about the situation, and document everything. Situations like these can be stressful, but it's important to know how to handle them. And the right way of handling them can save you thousands of dollars as compared to the wrong way. It can also ensure that you don't end up getting deported for a crime that you sometimes did not even commit. Thank you so much for watching. If you like the video, consider giving me a subscribe, and also you can follow me on Instagram. And I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye and take care.